On the topic of increased dependency on AI within technical roles, I am noticing something within myself, which is, and I don't know if I'm embarrassed to say this, but I'm starting to lean on AI a lot more in my technical role when I'm writing code or analyzing code. And this is not a bad thing. In the type of role that I'm in, I work as a developer experience leader and I do a lot of advocacy type activities, which means I need to understand the code that I'm teaching. I do a lot of teaching. I don't have the privilege of not reading code because I have to teach the code. I actually have to go line by line, like I've done it on this YouTube channel several times. But what I'm noticing, people are offloading cognition. I feel like we're going to lose this art of thinking about problems and solving problems and whiteboarding problems. Now people are just going back and forth on the chat or putting stuff in a loop. There is no whiteboarding solutions anymore. And that has pros and cons, but we might lose this ability to think critically about certain problems that we encounter. I see myself giving away and offloading a lot of cognition to the point where I grow impatient sometimes and I see myself asking the AI to just tell me what to do step by step. I just say, look, give it to me numbers, the exact step to do. Sometimes I even take it further and just say, do it for me with computer use. The agents can now access browsers. But I'm going to be honest, I think there are some cases where I will pull back from doing this just so I can exercise that muscle of being able to think about problems critically and not lose what made me get to where I am today, which is this ability to see things in ways that people can't see. If everyone is using the same AI models and pointing in towards the same problem, everyone is going to come up with the same solution shape, right? And then the innovation comes from creativity, but you start to lose that because you just offloaded a lot of cognition, right? Just so you can do things faster or do multiple things in parallel. I'm consciously aware of this and I'm going to take a deliberate action for some tasks, I'm going to take my time. There are some tasks I don't need to rush. I could just explore the space. I could just read the paper. I don't need to give it to an AI to digest it. Trust me, I literally have a tool called OpenSpeech that digests any paper, any podcast, gives me short summaries. But even though I'm a massive proponent of that, I do think there is a space where you need to slow down and actually, just for the sake of exercising the muscle of thinking critically and just really going deep and exercising that focus. I think there are certain situations where I will take a step back and highlight papers, read papers over and over again, solve tasks myself and not really depend too much on AI tools. I don't know if you guys are experiencing this where in your work you're offloading a lot of cognition. We need to think critically because the shape of some of the solutions that we're building are going to look the same. They're already starting to look the same. And I'm not shaming anyone because I'm part of the problem. Look on the website today, you can tell they were built by Claude or Codex on ChatGPT or something. You can just tell where something's written. AI slop is everywhere, right? We are just offloading cognitions. We're just going to use creativity. What becomes the real differentiator between company A and company B if we're all just using the two models that are dominating the space, right? I don't want to use the word taste because I don't even know. Taste is such a simplistic way of describing something that I think is a combination of both experience, expertise, judgment, and even luck, right? To be able to give a product direction or creativity direction that seems to stand out from the crowd. And I guess taste can be a very simple way to just pack all of that into a box and ship it and market it. Honestly, take a step back. I know things are moving very quickly and sometimes you're going to feel like you're behind, but I'm taking a step back and slowly reading articles, digesting things I'm reading and trying to not use AI and depend on it too much. That being said, I am going to be using AI in some tasks that I need to ship really quickly, But there are some where maybe hobby projects where I don't need to move as fast because I define the timeline, right? In my open source projects, in my hobby projects, I can take the time to understand the code and even change some of the approaches and maybe just explore some of the syntax because that's what we all used to do, right? There was a time where the best coders knew the syntax of the programming language off by heart without checking the documentation. I know that's not evidence of someone that can code well, but there was almost like an art form to it, right? I used to pride myself in knowing the syntax of scripts or some coding algorithms or some programming language and not having to look at the documentation. I remember when I was a front-end engineer, I used to go and look at the AngularJS documentation. Then over time, over a few years, I just knew how to implement a subscriber or a publisher on the front-end application. I knew how to build components without just going to the documentation, and I took pride in that. And today, you can just vibe code it. And so, what do we take pride in? Where is the art of software engineering, right? Because it is an art in a sense, right? I remember when I used to make sure the indentation of every single line of code was just had like a flow, or you use like list comprehension. So you have like your for loop in one line, right? With list comprehension, and it just looks beautiful. And that is gone now. I don't think anyone cares about that anymore. Like maybe no one cared about it back then. But where is the art now? Everything looks the same. We're all using the same models. We're all creating the same LinkedIn posts. Our web design looks the same. But let's take a step back. This was just something I was noticing as I was coding some more. You should have projects that actually cause you to slow down. Not because you want to ship them and show off of them, but just slow down and explain things and understand things in depth. There is joy and pride in just expanding your knowledge and understanding things that were once complex to you before. There is joy you get from being a lifelong learner because at the end of the day, we're all in it to learn, ship products, and give value to the customer. I'm sure there was a time where you were excited, where you knew a code off by heart, right? And that's gone. Take some time this weekend, take a step back and learn something without AI. That's coming from someone that has an AI learning tool out there. You can check it out, OpenSpeech.io. But take a step back. Okay, on the topic of offloading cognition to AI.